What's going on, everybody? I did an original intro for this, but I have to redo it. So, welcome back to another video. So, we're here talking about a few things before I get into the Aston Villa versus Chelsea preview. Wesley Fofana's weird comments about if we lose this game, then we still have a lot of games to go. Telling you why that's ridiculous to say right now. And an interesting stat about Cole Palmer and if we're a better team with him or without him. And towards the end of the video, we speak on the unfortunate injury to Rodrigo that he suffered yesterday in a La Liga match, where now it's looking like Rodrigo, Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, and a few other key players at Real Madrid are not going to be available for the Man City game next week in the Champions League. So if you like these videos, drop a like, get engaged in the comments. I appreciate all the love and support lately on my shorts. I upload shorts frequently every single day, talking about whatever topics I find interesting. So with that being said, we're going to get into the Wesley Fofana ridiculousness and the comments he made to the Chelsea website. I don't know, man. The guy needs some type of help here, bro. So with Chelsea sitting sixth in the Premier League on 45 points, one of the players has decided to come out and say something that is just absolutely crazy to say, in my opinion. And I feel like a lot of people here are on my side when it comes to this. Wesley Fofana. This is coming from via Chelsea FC. So this is coming from the official club website. It's a big game because we know if we win, then we come back close to Aston Villa. But if we lose, it's not finished because we have a lot of games after that. The problem that I have with it's not necessarily the first part of this statement that I have a problem with. But if we lose, why are you thinking about losing? If he plays tomorrow, I feel like we will lose because he's going to make a boneheaded decision in the game. And when I get to my starting lineup in the preview for Aston Villa versus Chelsea, he's nowhere near the starting lineup because I can't trust him to go away from Stamford Bridge, even though he got sent off at the bridge. I can't trust this guy in my back line right now. But if we lose, it's not finished. Chelsea cannot go there and lose tomorrow. They can't have the mentality of losing. And the problem that this current squad of players have is that they lose focus so quickly. Their mentality drops, their focus drops. You get scored on, the mentality and the focus and the desire to want to go do something, it just drops, man. And to have him say this of all people, if this was Enzo Fernandez saying this shit, if this was Cole Palmer saying this kind of stuff, I don't know if we're going to be in much of an uproar as if he said it because the problem with him saying that is you weren't even in the last game against Arsenal, bro. You stupidly got sent off. Now Pedro Neto got stupidly sent off against Arsenal. So now he's missing the game against Aston Villa, but you don't hear Pedro Neto coming out and saying anything crazy like this, man. I don't want to see Fofana in the team tomorrow because I feel like he is going to cost us 3 points if he plays tomorrow. He's going to do something stupid. He's going to be. I just have a weird feeling if he plays tomorrow, he's going to cost us 3 points, and we cannot afford any more drop points in the league. I just wanted to touch on this real quickly. I just feel like it's crazy that he's saying something like this when you weren't in the game against Arsenal and you were a key reason why we lost, why we drew against Burnley at the Bridge, man. So I'm gonna dip into the Cole Palmer thing real quick before I get into my actual preview for Aston Villa versus Chelsea. But Wesley Fofana, honestly, man, like I would just love it if you kept your mouth shut and you just played the game and just play the way that we've seen you play in the past and don't be reckless, don't be stupid. But I just don't want him anywhere in the team tomorrow because I just do not trust that he's going to do what he needs to do as part of the starting 11 out there. So I'm going to get into the Cole Palmer thing now, man. But this right here, I hope he's joking. I really hope that he's joking when he says if we lose. Hopefully it was misinterpreted, but he can speak English. So hopefully he's joking about that last part, man, because fuck that, dude. So there's been a lot of talk lately about whether or not Cole Palmer if we're better without him or if we're better with him in the squad. And if I'm being completely honest, for people that have the mentality that we're better without him, do you guys understand that he hasn't been 100% all season? Like, I don't think people are really understanding that. So it says without Palmer, Chelsea have won 73% of their games this season, compared to just 24% when he plays. They have taken 2.27 points per match without him, compared to the 1.18 points with him, and have improved from 1.5 to 2.2 goals per game in his absence. Now, if we're really saying that we're better without a fit and healthy Cole Palmer, you guys aren't watching the game at all. Like, I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you guys. You guys really think that we're better without him? We don't get European spots. Now, Palmer towards the end of last season wasn't good. It took him until the game against Liverpool to get a goal, and the last goal before that was against Bournemouth in the league, right? But are we really saying that we're better without him? We don't get European football if we don't have Cole Palmer. In his first season with us, we're not getting sixth without Palmer in the squad. And we're not getting a Champions League spot. We're not winning the Conference League without him. And we're not winning the Club World Cup without him. The player of the tournament. Like, we're not winning without him, right? And if Chelsea want to win the Premier League, Chelsea want to win the Champions League, they want to win the FA Cup, they want to win the League Cup, this man right here is going to be a key part in that. And whether people want to admit it or not, players go through injuries all the time. And he's been fighting it all season. So I'm just trying to figure out why Chelsea fans are now starting to low key turn on him a little bit, that we're better without him. These are the same fans, the match going fans, that will boo when he's getting taken off. So it's like, which one do you want? And like for the online fans too, right? It's like a lot of people want to hide behind the keyboards and just say whatever they want without actually giving a reason why we're better without them. Like, I want to hear the reasons why we're better without them. My reasons, if I had a reason, honestly, to say that we're better without him, is that the way that he plays at his own pace, and sometimes he does slow the game down a little bit. But at the end of the day, if the man is fit and firing and he's 100% and he's not dealing with injuries, we've seen the damage he can do. He's the he's the guy that scored 4 goals and a half, bro. 4 goals in 31 minutes, right? He's the same guy that ripped apart PSG pretty much on his own with João Pedro and a few other players on the pitch. So we're not going to sit here and be ridiculous and say that we're better without Cole Palmer. Anybody that says that just isn't watching the sport and just isn't a Chelsea fan at the end of the day. Like, you can call out bad performances. Like, I've even said that he's not looking good, but it doesn't mean that we're better. The team as a whole just isn't playing well. So we can't single out him and say, oh, if we take him out of the team because we had a good run in the beginning part of the season where he wasn't in the squad and we were scoring goals for fun. But at the same time, when Chelsea are actually great and they're good, he's the main reason. So let's pump the brakes. Let's stop being ridiculous and saying that we're better without him when clearly Chelsea only achieved what they achieved because he's the main reason why. So let's pump the brakes. There's still a good chunk of the season to go. I'm hoping he gets it back together because I want to see him play well. I want to see him be in the England squad for the World Cup because I don't think there's a better number 10 that England has in their setup with everyone fit. So that's just my thing. Obviously, I'm American, so I can care less about England. But when it comes to the Chelsea boys, yeah, I'm gonna pay extra attention to what they're doing at the World Cup. So hopefully he's back, he's fit, he's ready to go for the World Cup in England. Because I don't think Thomas Tuchel is gonna leave him out. But if his form doesn't improve and he doesn't get more involved in the scoring and the creating of the goals that we're actually scoring, then he may miss out. But I don't think he's gonna miss out. So let me know your guys' thoughts on Palmer. if we're better without him, if we're not better without him. I think it's ridiculous to think that we're better without him. But, you know, that's why we continue to see what goes on for the rest of the season. If his form doesn't improve, then people may have a point, but I still don't think they're right. I just think he's dealing with so many injuries, and the mental battle that he's dealing with these injuries, I think is really affected him. So let me know your guys' thoughts. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and push into the preview for Aston Villa versus Chelsea, where Chelsea need to pick up these 3 points, man. It's absolutely vital. So tomorrow, Chelsea play Aston Villa at Villa Park, where Chelsea in recent memory have gone there and played pretty well. They've, unfortunately last season I remember they took the lead and they lost to Villa, unfortunately. And they've gone there in the past and really picked up some decent results. And Aston Villa just lost to Wolves on Friday, where it's looking like it's starting to begin the downward slide that they were somewhat on last season towards the end, where they lost out on a Champions League spot to Newcastle on the final day. And now we're looking at a situation where we're 6 points behind Aston Villa with about 9, 10 games left to play. And every single point that we are looking to get, we need to get. And it starts with this game on Wednesday against Villa. So going into this game, what needs to happen for us to pick up the 3 points? It's really this simple. You don't make mistakes in the back. You don't try to play out of the back every single opportunity that you have. There's going to be moments where you just need to get the ball up the pitch and get everybody up to force Villa back and put pressure on them, because Aston Villa, for the most part, in their midfield right now, they're not necessarily the strongest. No Tielemans, no John McGinn. Maybe John McGinn plays tomorrow, but John McGinn was missing against Wolves and Tielemans, and we see how important they are in their midfield and how Aston Villa want to play, right? And they're a physical midfield generally, but with those two not being in the midfield, particularly John McGinn, Chelsea need to take advantage of the midfield battle tomorrow, where people want to see Andre Santos. I want to see Romeo Lavia. If he's able to start in this game, and this is why I have him in my starting lineup, it's a stretch, but for the 15-minute cameo that we saw against Arsenal, this is why I feel like we can't give up on Lavia so quickly. Yeah, he's fighting the injuries, but if he can just stay fit and find a way to stay on the field consistently, I feel like he's going to be the guy that starts over Andre Santos going forward, because he's a class midfielder. His problem is just injuries, man. If he can stay healthy, I don't think Andre Santos has even seen the pitch if Romeo Lavia is healthy. So I'm going to get into my starting lineup here. As you see on screen, it's essentially almost the same lineup against Arsenal. The only difference is obviously is you reintroduce Esteval there on the right. You bring in Romeo Lavia. You're keeping in Sarr, and I've seen a lot of people talk about his performance against Arsenal, about how he's not winning aerial duels, or he's not physical enough for the Premier League. It's his first Premier League start, man. The hell do you want him to do? He's going up against two of the best ball winners in the air in Europe on corner kicks, right? And Arsenal in general are just a physical team in the air, so they're going to win more headers more often than not. But I'm not going to criticize a 19-year-old center half that got introduced against Arsenal at the Emirates, bro. I'm not going to do that. But in actuality, he didn't play that bad. He was actually playing very well. It's just whenever your center halves play well, then you see Robert Sanchez play like he was playing in his first season with Chelsea, where he's misplacing passes, not being commanding in the box. Yeah, he had a few good saves against Arsenal, but there's been 2 games against Arsenal this season in the cup at the Bridge, in the league against Arsenal at the Emirates, where he's just looked nervous, shaky. He's not as commanding. I don't know what it is about Arsenal, but he just doesn't play well against them. But against Aston Villa, I'm expecting the commanding Robert Sanchez to be back and be upset when goals are conceded, right? Reece James at right back, you know, put in another stellar performance against Arsenal. Seems to always have something against them, which I'm absolutely here for. And as long as he stays healthy, I feel like we always have a chance in a game. I know down that right hand side, nobody is getting by him. So Reece James for me, sorry, Reece James for me starts on the right. Chalobah, Sarr, Hato. If Kukurea is ready to go and he's available for this game, do you rush him back and throw him into the starting lineup? I feel like you start Hato in this game and then you bring in Kukurea. If either the game is tight or the game is already wrapped up, then you bring him in. If the game is tight, say the 75th minute, and you need to bring him in, I would bring him in. But if the game, say, is 3-1 Chelsea, 80th minute, you can bring him in for 10 minutes or don't even play him at all. But Hato, for me, starts this game unless Kukurea is cleared and fit and ready to go and Rossini is comfortable with it, then I would start Kukurea. But Hato, for me, is starting on the left because he did not have a bad game really against Arsenal. Saka got by him a few times, but overall, he didn't play that bad. Romeo Lavia, like I said, I would love to see him start in this game. Is he going to start? It's going to probably be Andre Santos again. But I would love to see Romeo Lavia start in this game because at least with him, I know there's some type of calmness between Caicedo and Lavia. I'm more comfortable with Lavia being on the ball and being able to get out of tight spaces rather than Moises Caicedo, who is more of a midfield destroyer and can pick out a pass. But the recklessness that he's had over the past 2 or 3 months. Now, the game against Arsenal, thank God he didn't get sent off, but a few of the tackles he made were a bit late, but a few of the other tackles he made looked like the Moises Caicedo that we paid 115 million for, right? So for me, those two need to be in midfield. I feel like that's the real balance in midfield that we need. Now, this is where people are going to probably not be happy with the front line that I have, but I'm going to explain why I have this front line. Esteval, immediately put him back on the right hand side. That is the guy that I just want to continuously see on that right hand side. I don't want to see Pedro Neto there anymore. I don't want to see Gittins when he comes back, Garnacho. Palmer is the only guy that I would say I would like to see on the right hand side a little bit more, but in this game, I have him on the left. But him being able to interchange with Enzo Fernandez, even though people don't want to see Enzo on the wing, he's not necessarily going to be on the wing for me. This is where you drop Enzo Fernandez right into this pocket here, right? Then Palmer shifts in. Esteval will shift in as well. Then it forms a nice little diamond in the attack with the ability of these two too. Hold on. With the ability to Palmer to shift wide, Esteval to shift wide, right? João Pedro to drop in. Then you can make runs in behind with Palmer, Esteval, right? Because João Pedro is so good at linking up the play with these two particular players. This is why the front line of Esteval, João Pedro, and Cole Palmer, that is my front three. Enzo Fernandez is going to form a midfield three, pinch in a little bit more, drop in a little bit deeper because I don't want to see Enzo as advanced as he's been because for me, he's better when he's receiving the ball deep and he's able to see the field and spray these passes out wide. And a lot of people have been talking about Enzo Fernandez and if we're actually a better team without him too. And it's like, I'm going to be real. When Chelsea are in form, he's another reason why we are in form. I mean, the guy, he's not a goal scorer. I've said that for Enzo Fernandez to be a real superstar, he's got to add more goals to his game. And what is he doing this season? He's adding more goals to his game. He's adding more assists to his game. And he's an influential part in how we try to break teams down. It'd be criminal to say that he's been a bust in the Premier League. And I've seen a few people say that over the past few weeks. And it's like, where are we getting this information from? What game are you watching, honestly, right? And I'm not saying this because I'm a fan of the guy. But I'm saying this because with my own eyes, I'm seeing a guy that when he came to Chelsea in 2023 had no idea how to play in the Premier League to now where he's built for it physically. Mentally, I don't know yet because he's still getting stupid yellow cards in the game where you don't need to do that. Slamming the ball down, talking back to the referee, making stupid challenges when you don't need to make the challenge. But Enzo Fernandez is a Premier League midfielder. For people to say that he isn't, really need to go back and watch the footage of what he's done from the first day he stepped into this club to about now. And you're telling me that the guy has not improved? I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like people online just love to troll, love to hate, and love to complain about anything. Chelsea drop points, Chelsea lose a game, these players are under attack for whatever reason they can think of. And sometimes their performances justify the criticism, but it doesn't mean that the entire time that they've been at the club, they played like dog shit. Like, that's not true at all. So, this lineup here, I feel like is good enough to go to Villa Park and get the 3 points, but are they going to go there and be clinical enough to put the ball in the back of the net? I don't know. Like I genuinely do not know. Like this team is so hot and cold, man. It's like I don't know which team is going to show up tomorrow. Unfortunately, I have the day off tomorrow, so I actually get to watch this at home. But man, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how this game is going to go tomorrow. Aston Villa are in a weird patch of form, but Chelsea are so hot and cold, man. It's like putting on the Ben Gay, and at first it's super hot, and then it gets super cold after. Like we don't know what team is going to show up tomorrow. So I'm not going to come on here and be naive and say Chelsea are going to rip Aston Villa to shreds. But what I will say is that with both of these teams being out of form right now, I feel like there's only one outcome that can really happen here. If Chelsea get the first goal tomorrow and they follow up with the second goal tomorrow, I think we'll be just fine. Even though we've dropped points from winning positions in the past, I think the loss to Wolves from Aston Villa is only the start of them finding more ways to drop points. Man United just jumped them in the table, and I think Manchester United are going to probably end up staying above Aston Villa for the remainder of the season, which means they may finish above us, which is just diabolical to think about, if I'm being honest with you. But Chelsea need to just not make the stupid mistakes in the back and just keep the focus for 90 minutes, man. The mentality has to be there. Like, I'm not saying Wrexham at the weekend is a break, but you get these 3 points done. You're not worried about another game until PSG next Wednesday. That's enough time for me for these players to get re-energized, rejuvenated, because I feel like the PSG tie is when they're going to actually wake the fuck up. But what is my prediction for tomorrow? With this lineup here, there's going to be goals scored tomorrow. That's going to be one thing. But it's just who's going to score more. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is going to be a wild game. And this is going to be a game that is going to be a roller coaster of emotions for both sides. Both teams need the 3 points to get themselves European football. But I think when push comes to shove and when backsides get tight and you need that decisive moment in the game, I don't know if Aston Villa are going to be able to figure it out. But at the same time, are Chelsea going to be able to hold a lead if they take the lead, or do they need to get scored on twice for them to actually wake up? I'm not going to give two predictions. I'm going to give one prediction. I think it's going to be Aston Villa 3, Chelsea 4. I think Chelsea pull out a 4-3 win here. And I think with the way that we do come back in this game, because I think we're going to get scored on early, and I think it's going to be twice early on. I do think we find a way to come back in this game, and I think we snatch it at the very, very, very end, where we hit them on the counter. They throw so many players up because they're desperate to get 3 points, and we catch them on the counter. And I think we win tomorrow, 95th minute, something along those lines, right? But this game is not going to be easy. It's going to be very up and down. It's going to be a very open game, in my opinion, because both teams need to get the result. So I think it's going to be Chelsea 4, Aston Villa 3, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to make a wild prediction here. I think João Pedro scores a hat trick tomorrow. I think João Pedro is going to score a hat trick tomorrow. I think that something is telling me that he's going to do something special tomorrow. I think he's going to be the guy to do it. So let me know in the comments everything that we talked about, man. Also, one last thing. It's unfortunate that Rodrigo tore his ACL, or he had an ACL injury. Got it in the game yesterday to Getafe, a Madrid derby. And it's just unfortunate. And Mbappe's also missing for Real Madrid too. So it's looking like they're not going to be available for the Man City tie. And it's like I said in my Champions League reaction, the only way Real Madrid get out of this tie is if Kylian Mbappe shows why he's the best player in the world. Now he may not even be available, so it's looking like the round of 16 is going to be an exit for them, and it's like I think it's deserved, honestly. But yeah, with that being said, man, I'm gonna get out of here. I got to go to work soon. But yeah, my lineup, I'm gonna review it one more time. Robert Sanchez, Reece James, Trevor Chalobah, Mamadou Sarr, Joel Hato, Lavia, Caicedo, Esteval, Enzo, who will drop in a little bit more to form a midfield three, Palmer, Esteval, and João Pedro. That is my front three. Let me know in the comments. Give me your guys' lineups, your prediction, and what you think is going to happen in this game. I said 4-3 Chelsea because I said both teams need to score goals and they need to get the points. So let me know in the comments everything that we talked about. I'm going to get out of here, up to Chelsea, and hopefully Liverpool find a way to drop points against Wolves. Pay attention to that game, guys. There's a Wolves. I'm not saying they're going to beat them, but Wolves are playing better. Are they going to make the great escape? Maybe I'll do a short about that. I'll catch you guys later, man. Peace.